Welcome to the 2010 Candidate Forums featuring elections for local, state, and congressional offices, recorded live from the B.W. Simpkins Center at BCC's Cocoa campus. These forums are made possible through a partnership between Brevard Community College, Florida Today, the League of Women Voters, and the Space Coast Tiger Bay Club. And now, tonight's forum.
Good evening and welcome to this, the fifth in a series of candidate forums here in the B.W. Simpkins Fine Arts Auditorium at Brevard Community College's Cocoa campus. I'm J.B. Comp, President-elect of Tiger Bay Club, and we're in partnership with BCC, Florida Today, and the Space Coast League of Women Voters to bring you these informative discussions. Tonight we'll be featuring the three candidates for District 24 Florida State Senate. And before I introduce you to the candidates, let me explain the format for tonight's forum. There'll be a 2-minute opening statement by all three of our candidates, followed by questions from the audience, the live studio audience here in the B.W. Simpkins Auditorium. I'll direct those on a rotating basis to each of the candidates. They'll have a minute to respond to those questions and an optional 30-second rebuttal opportunity. Following the final candidate response, the candidates will be given a 1-minute closing statement opportunity. Now to our second question, we're going to go to you first this time, Bart, and we'll rotate down to Steve and then to Thad. What is, and this is one of increasing importance, I think, to this area, what is your experience with aerospace? And do you have a plan to address the gap between the space shuttle and the replacement vehicle?
Unfortunately, I'm not like Senator Nelson, who's, I guess, gone up into space. I have personally no experience with aerospace. What I do have experience with is making money and finding ways to make a business work. Those are the kinds of experiences we need to make an economy work and to understand a business model and make a business model work. In the case of aerospace, we have a big problem with NASA. Funding is going away, and we have to find ways to replace that revenue. We have rocket scientists here and other aerospace workers. It would be great to lure companies here. Having a knowledge of aerospace is not required to do things like eliminate the corporate tax rates and also to find incentives to lure businesses here that can hire those workers.
I personally have never been involved in a business or professional endeavor with aerospace. As a Florida native, I've enjoyed the benefits of being so close to it for most of my life, for all of my life, for that matter. In terms of aerospace, we've made a huge, horrible mistake at the federal and state level by allowing an industry that is one of the few government programs that actually pays back to the community to wither on the vine. For every dollar that we spend in aerospace, we receive 8 back. It's something that I will do everything in my power to make sure is refunded, to make sure that is built upon, and to make sure it's the leading industry for our area once again.
I've given much of my life toward supporting the aerospace community here in Florida. I'm one of the longest sitting members on Space Florida Board, which is the board that sets the space policy and is the contact point for the growth of space. Speaker Marco Rubio appointed me when I was in the House. President Jeff Atwater appointed me in the Senate. I sponsored every major piece of legislation this past year that helped support the space program, was responsible working with Senator Herodopoulos and Speaker Atwater, President Atwater, with obtaining over $30 million that will be used to expand our aerospace industry here, to try to retain our workforce, to bring in more launches, and as well the support. We not only need to increase our launches, but we need to increase the support facilities, the payload processing, satellite manufacturing, vehicle assembly. We have this incredibly talented workforce, 7,000 people that are about to lose their jobs here. And we're using these dollars to bring in as many aerospace companies that we can so we can maintain the most talented workforce in the world. We also need to work very hard with our federal partners to encourage them to change the Obama policy of cutting these jobs and getting them back to work and supporting our aerospace industry.
Thank you. Now we're going to go to the 30-second response. Bart, you'll have the first opportunity.
Senator Altman has had many years in government and has had the ability to make changes. Over the past 7 years, we've known that aerospace was going to be a problem in this community, and we've seen nothing from our legislatures that it's been dramatic enough to turn that around so that we will have alternatives for the workers to work in, such as private industry.
I would echo Mr. Carmichael's sentiments on that. All the individuals that Mr. Altman named and his abilities to find $30 million compared to the billions that we're going to lose, knew for many years that this was coming, had known for many years that this was coming, failed to inform you that this was coming, and failed to come up with a plan to mitigate what the consequences would be.
Well, to say we've done nothing is untrue. I worked with Governor Bush, where we appropriated $35 million to assemble this crew exploration vehicle here at the Operations and Checkout Building, historic. That was for the Constellation program. That program has been cut by the administration. Hopefully it will be funded, but even if the Constellation doesn't happen, that same facility will be used to build either the rescue vehicle or some other form of crew vehicle that will be a part of heavy lift. We passed a number of bills this year. Aerospace Orbiter Retention and Retirement Bill that's going to put money to retain those workers. As I mentioned earlier, over $31 billion. Workforce retention, tax incentives for aerospace companies, infrastructure, dollars for hard infrastructures that we can leverage to bring aerospace companies here.